editing Beatrice here real quick. Please bear with me through this reading. This was intense reading, a long reading, a stressful reading because of how contentious this is. So we get there, we get around to everything in the end, but give me some grace as I'm going through something really hard, putting myself out there to do something that, a lot of other people don't do or couldn't do. And so just give me some grace. This one was a tough one. So here we go. Hey y'all, how you perking? I hope you're perking good. So, highly requested video, the most requested video of 2024, the 2024 United States presidential election. Who will win and what the hell is going to happen? So, this is a big one. This is a big video here. I'm going to try to get through as much as I can with this here. I may end up with a second video, an extended video, because I don't know if we're going to be able to squeeze everything in this one. So I have a sticky note full of questions about it that y'all have sent in that y'all are curious to know. I will get through plenty of questions here, and like I said, probably going to do a second video, an extended video for channel members to dive into more things, because I just have a feeling this is going to be a lot. Yeah, have a feeling that this is going to be a lot. So, I'm a licensed mental health clinician as well as a spiritual intuitive, and in these videos, I take a look at the tea with the tarot. Got a good track record here on the channel, so don't freak out and run away just by seeing that. I guess you can if you want to, but you might be missing out. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the cards over here and move this microphone right here. Got Penelope in her red, matching my red, just trying to do whatever I can to lighten the mood and make things feel fun so that this doesn't feel as heavy as it can feel, because I am well aware that this is going to be an intense one, which means we need to go through a series of disclaimers here. Please hear me out on this. Try not to fast forward through it if you can. One, this is all alleged, just my interpretation, okay? Got to say that for the YouTube overlords. This is all alleged, just my interpretation. Two, we're almost always super kind on this channel to each other. I'd like that to continue, please. So regardless of what I see in this, what comes up, we can say what we need to say, express our opinions, use that throat chakra. We can do that. But there's a polite way to do it, and that's the way that we do things here on this channel. Let's just try to do that. We always seem to do that well here. I just put the reminder out for anybody that might be new here, because I want people, whether they're already a part of the channel or whether they're new here, I want you to feel like this is a good community, a healthy community where we do what we need to do, but we do it kindly. So that's another one of the disclaimers. Here's a third one. Lots of people like to know when someone's going to read on who's going to win and all this stuff about elections. They want to know, what's your bias? What do you got going on in here? So I've told people a million times before, I'll say it again. I'm not a big fan of Trump. I'm not a big fan of Kamala. I am an independent that has still been looking out for my person that seems to fit me well politically, and there's a lot of us out there that have a hard time picking R or D here in the United States. I'm one of them. So with that being said, I will try to read this with as much neutrality as possible. It is impossible for people to have zero bias when it comes to big deal topics like this. These are very controversial topics. They are highly emotionally charged. It is impossible to be completely without bias in some way. So I don't aim for being completely without bias. That's not possible. I aim to be neutral, to put any kind of thoughts or ego or anything that I may have aside, to just see what's in the cards and say what I see. And that's what I always try to do on this channel. And I think that that has helped this channel to have accurate predictions so far. So I'm going to try that again today. With that being said, it's hard to not feel emotional about this reading here in the States. We've had a really wild time the last decade, and this is contentious what's coming up, and it's hard to not be like, oh, what's it gonna say, what's it gonna say? So I'm gonna try my best to keep those kind of like emotions down so that I can read clearly. I'm gonna try my best for that, but just so you know, that's hard to do. That's a hard ask of anybody, is to be able to read this accurately, clearly, zoomed out, non-emotional, neutral. That's a hard ask to ask anybody. So I'm going to do my best with it. And we'll see where that lands us. But just want to put all of that out here, all the cards on the table, so to speak, pun not intended, but it happened. And we're going to try to get through this together. So that's a lot of disclaimers. Just wanted to put them out there. I think that they're very important. And because I know this will also be important, it is 3:29 on Wednesday, September 11th at the time that I am filming this. Okay, so just so we know, whatever is coming up as of 3:29 on September 11th. And being that it's September 11th, you know, never forget what we've gone through as a country on this day. So we're kind of contending with that energy on this day too. It's just that I know that this is a sought after reading, and I want to be able to get this out to people. And we've already gone through all the other reading requests that people have had. People have had reading requests for Kamala, for Trump, for you know, the VP picks, Tim Walz and JD Vance, RFK Jr., all of that. There's a lot of political requests that we have filmed already. They're on the channel. Go take a look at those after this video if you're interested, or before this video if you're interested, whatever way you want to do it. So all that's there. Got a lot of stuff here on the channel already. I ain't going to take that because I didn't ask a question yet. All right, so the question I'm going to ask first, these are the ones that y'all have sent me that you want to know. So I've had a lot of people, and I have no idea why, but I've had a lot of people say, will we even have an election? I feel like I've heard from so-and-so or so-and-so that we won't even have an election or something like that. I don't know what that's referring to, but people want to know, will we even have an election? People are also wanting to know, is something going to happen to complicate election day, or to complicate the election outcome, or things like that? Or they're going to be, you know, things that come up like that will happen. People are also wanting to know, well, what in the hell is going to happen afterwards? You know, after everything's said and done, if there is an election and it's finished and someone is chosen, now what's going to happen, kind of thing. And of course, the elephant in the room, who's going to win? So these are the questions that I have down that we're going to try to get through today. And again, some of these questions might end up over there on the Perk Squad, our channel membership, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's see how much we can do here. let's start here first. So, first of all, I think the most important question to start with is, will we even have an election? Because if we get a no here, then that's going to take this down an entirely different path than I had anticipated going. So I don't know, again, why that question has come up or where that question comes from, but a lot of y'all have asked that. So I just kind of looking at this with the guides over, you know, the likelihood of actually having an election happen here in the United States for the 2024 presidential choice, the presidential election here. So let's see, what are we seeing here? Okay. Very interesting. We're gonna get wild from the beginning. Yay. Okay. I'm gonna get a context card up on this one, right, y'all? Okay. So, from what they're showing here, I'm trying to come at this from a way of understanding where somebody would come from, or people, various people would come from, and saying that we wouldn't have an election, because I don't necessarily see things here that would make me feel like we wouldn't have an election. But maybe the energy around the election is so different or strange or weird that would have given some other psychics or astrologers or whoever this information came from, maybe would have given them that impression. And of course, like I said, I could be the wrong one. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're right and there's not going to be an election and I'm wrong. That's possible here. I'm trying to push past my own, nervous feelings of doing this reading, putting myself out there to do this. So maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But from what I'm looking at here, this looks like, we're putting the pieces in place, one foot in front of the other, one step in front of the other to get this to go. I see that the seeds have already been planted. People are watering that garden, which means we're putting everything down that has to happen logistically to hold an election. We're making sure that we're crossing those T's and dotting those I's. Everything procedurally is, quote unquote, going to plan for there to be an election. I do see some kind of a weird juggling energy here. This is a switch up. This is something that is shifty. And so, like I said, maybe this weird switch up shifty energy is what is confusing things, where people are like, possibly maybe there won't be an election or something. I could see how that kind of shifty energy could maybe give that impression. But what I'm seeing around that is that there's some kind of exchange, and I hope that's going to become more clear as we look into this, but that there's some kind of an exchange around the time of the election that perhaps does complicate things, add something different than maybe what we have seen before, or again, just something that deviates a bit from the norm. It's a little bit of a shift from the norm, some kind of a way, and because of that could be giving people impressions of things not happening. But to me, it feels like there would still be an election, a presidential election. It's just that there's something shifty or different about the energy, and some sort of an exchange near the election. So the election's supposed to be in November, that something near there, some kind of difference in exchange might have given the impression that there wouldn't be one. But I do see one happening. Here we've got our 10 of Swords card upright, which is, kind of a painful ending type of card. And we do get the Star card in reverse, which is like a painful ending and yet not really being able to start something new. So there could be something. I'm trying to watch my words. I say what I see, but I gotta also not word things in a way that could get things taken down through YouTube, or have problems or something like that. I do see that there could be something weird happen nearer to the election day, closer to that time, that could complicate election day or election proceedings or things like that. I see that there could be some weirdness coming through, and maybe that weirdness signaled to other people that it wouldn't happen. I do see that something would happen. I don't see that, like, and again, I don't know what it was that people predicted around this, but I don't see like, oh, it disappears, nobody ever votes, nobody ever has an election, we don't get a new leader, we don't whatever. Like, I don't see that kind of stuff happening. I do see this, I see the logistics here, I see the process here. I see everything building up and lining up for it. And I see that this is the intention for it to happen. And so I do see in some way that it does, but yeah, there is a weird energy here that comes close to it, comes near it, that could complicate things. So that could be any number of things that could happen, but what they're showing, and particularly over here, that could be complicating is whatever it is, it would be really emotional, really challenging for certain people. Like that there would be certain folks where this feels like a big deal to them, a big issue to them, just this unsettling feeling is kind of coming up around things. It's a very like cryptic, unsettling feeling or something. So yeah, I do see some weird energy like that around election day or the election itself, but I don't see that keeping it from happening. At most, it could shift some sort of logistics or proceedings possibly, but I don't even know that I say I see that. So long story long, I do still see that there's some sort of an election. Again, long story long, I do see that there's some sort of election. I'm trying to give y'all context around that. So I know that I'm, talking a lot, but it's just because I like to try to give context around it. I don't like to just be like, here's this, here's this, here's this. I want us to kind of, have a sense of what we might be looking at, broader than just yes or no questions. And plus my guides don't tend to work with me in yes or no's. They work with me in context. That's how it goes here. So this is interesting, and we may end up, some of this stuff may end up coming up in the next questions. I'm going to pull these up right now so we can go ahead and move on to something else, but we may end up getting some more information or insights around that as we move forward. We'll see. But as I shuffle up here, I am going to look over here at our next question. So yeah, the next question literally was, will something happen to complicate election day or the election outcome? So that's interesting that actually was the next question. And I actually see that I missed a question here earlier when I was naming them off, that someone, more than one person actually asked, are we going to have fair elections? And that one, I guess I have to be also careful of saying here on YouTube. That one I might save that question for the Perk Squad. Let me write that down. I'm going to save that question for when we do the extended video here on the Perk Squad. I will ask that one over there of, will we have fair elections? Because asking that kind of a question is a surefire way of risking your video getting taken down. I know of plenty of people that I've heard have had videos removed for asking that question. So I would be likely to put it over there and to just not monetize that video over there. So that way, maybe YouTube cares less about it. If it's not a monetized video, then maybe you care less about me asking that question. So over there, I will take a look at that. So speaking of the Perk Squad, just in case people are new here and are like, well, what the hell is the Perk Squad? What are you talking about? That is the channel membership over here. So if you click the blue join button down below or the link in the description box, you can become a member of the Perk Squad. And with that, there's lots of different perks to the Perk Squad. So, your own videos, your own posts, you can have your own different colored Penelopes by your name, your own emojis. You get weekly forecasts for what's going to come up that week, and you get video shout outs like this one. So shout out to you, Sarah Simmons, and thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. Happy to have you here, Sarah, and thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. So lots of that over there. If you want to go over there, do the things, the button or the link, and find your way over there. But for now, we will skip that question and go to the whole, what are we talking about when we're talking about things that might complicate election day or the outcome? So, okay, let's look at what might be complicating things. Let's take a peek into that. Let's see what we can find out here. Okay. All right, so couple of things are coming up. Actually, it's not just one thing coming up, so that is kind of curious. And again, I'm going to say what I see, and I apologize if that makes anybody mad. I just, you know, that's my promise to myself, to y'all, and to the guides, as I say what I see. So with the Strength card upright, there's this sense of kind of wrangling things a little bit, and the Magician card over here upright, Knight of Cups in reverse. This top energy here, it feels manipulative. So, it does feel like there's going to be something manipulative that transpires again around the elections. And, you know, I got to be careful on how I say all of these things. It's very frustrating. So sorry, y'all, you know, blame YouTube on that. That I do see some sort of wrangling and manipulating things in a way where people will feel like they have to take certain measures because they are, you know, worried or freaking out, or, you know, something that doesn't feel good. This is a very emotional card, but in the reverse, it's kind of like getting hit with bad news. So it's like when we feel like we're getting hit with bad news, we sometimes feel like, I have to make up for bad news by doing X, Y, or Z. This will make me feel like less anxious if I do this, or here's the problem, and this is a potential solution. I'll do this to make myself feel better. So it feels kind of like creating a problem and giving people a solution for that problem, so that when they're voting, or when they are, you know, making decisions or acting accordingly, it goes the way you want because of something that you manufactured. So there's something manipulative and manufactured here that looks like it has to do with worry or fear or anxiety or something like that, that seems to be coming into play here to potentially complicate the elections. So that's one thing that I'm seeing here that does not feel good to see or to say. Another thing that comes here is I am kind of worried when I see this Four of Swords here, Seven of Swords, and Ace of Swords all in the upright position, but it is a little bit worrying because this Four of Swords card, I'm like, why are you here in this? So what this kind of feels like is I am nervous for the candidates. How do I put this? I'm trying to say what I see and not get taken down, and so I'm trying to do right by y'all and YouTube. But I'm worried about the candidates, that there could be some plans here. These are some long-standing plans that could potentially get in the way, and it has to do with this notion of like clarity and truth and things like that. So this is so frustrating. So it feels like there are some plans that, if they are able to happen, could disadvantage the candidates and the process, and cause a problem for the elections. This does not feel forthcoming. This feels hidden, by virtue of having this Four of Swords here. It feels like an insidious hidden thing. It feels like a behind the scenes thing. And it could correlate to what they were saying here. There could be a problem that comes up and then a solution that gets presented that we all feel kind of compelled to do. There could be this sense of like, okay, well, this is what we're looking at, so this is how we're gonna kind of resolve this. There's something weird about this that feels like it is what's complicating the election, and not just complicating like the actual elections, but potentially the outcomes as well. So in other words, people that think that, hoping that this would be straightforward this year, that maybe we wouldn't have, disagreements about the process or the outcomes, that maybe this can be more straightforward and we don't have to fight about it or argue about it or have weird things come up. Unfortunately for y'all, I don't see that as being the case. I see no way that this can happen smoothly and clearly and without issue. And it looks like those seeds have already been planted and sown, and it's, kind of a long time coming here. And I worry about the candidates because, again, we always want things to be fair and we want things to be safe. And if there's any potential that these plans could, take away from the fairness or could take away from the safety of any of the candidates, then that would be problematic. And so my hope is that whatever is kind of behind the scenes here is not really able to grab hold. I'm hoping that, as with all plans can succeed or plans can fail. And so I'm hoping that if there are plans that are negative, revolving around fairness or revolving around safety, that those would fail. That would be my hope. But I do have some concerns here that I'm seeing. So again, some potential complexities here, from outside sources. God almighty. What a mess. What a mess. Okay. So anything else that we can know on this, spirit guides, before we shift over into another question? Anything else that we can know on this? Okay. We've got this kind of coming out. All right. Okay. So with this, again, here we go with our Knight of Pentacles in reverse. This is kind of we're trying to get our ducks in a row type of card. This is a letting go kind of card. This is also kind of a letting go kind of card. There is a weird letting go energy around this, which I say weird because right now at the point in time of filming, people have been fighting and clawing to get their positions and to get where they are and to have this stuff go exactly how they want. This is a race. This is contentious. This is a fight. This is people really, really pushing hard. There's some kind of dropping it all, like, dropping the ball or letting it loose, or just this, like, fuck it energy or something going on here around the elections that seems to be in stark contrast to the energy that we're currently in relative to the elections, and that could be confusing and disorienting as we go through this process. So Again, those of us who were waiting for things to feel smoother this year, have more clarity this year, all of that, unfortunately, it doesn't feel that way this year. And so this does make me nervous. It makes me nervous for some potential October surprise type energy coming through, and it makes me nervous for like what would happen post election, in terms of like if there's any kind of energy around like we need a recount, or like I disagree with the results, or all of that kind of stuff that we've gone through before in various years. I am worried about seeing kind of that type of energy come up again, but differently, because again, these here are kind of letting go energy. So whereas in previous years where people have not agreed with the results or felt confused about results or stuff, and we've had like, there was a time I remember when I was younger that they recounted something in Florida or whatnot for votes, and then of course we know in 2020 when there was like the January 6th thing that happened and all of that. I don't see that kind of a thing exactly. I see that same level energy of like not wanting to accept or be confused, but I don't see it being handled in the same way as those 2 years. I see something being different about it here. So I see it being treated differently, handled differently, and that letting go energy is almost a dismissive kind of energy, and almost a like, well, there's nothing to see here. Let's just move past this and move on and like really forge ahead. There's something weird showing up here around that. So it's weird to feel the same energy signatures as the past, but to feel like things will be dealt differently, handled differently, something along those lines that sets it apart from previous iterations. So confusion, surprises before and after the actual election. So a fun time. Okay. Let's pull these up and shuffle these back, and let's see if we can get in with another one of these questions. So as we go to take a look at another question, and I'm shuffling up here, if you'd like to book a private reading, BeasTalksAndTarot.com, you can book a private reading with me. Whatever people have. Sometimes people have questions that are like literal personal questions, love life, career, spiritual purposes, mission in life, all kinds of things. Sometimes people have other questions like, world questions, or things that I would normally make videos about, topical questions, whatever. But either way, we can go over whatever you want to go over, see whatever we can get from that. So private readings on BeasTalksAndTarot.com. I also do Reiki energy healing for people that like cleansing, clearing, calming, to get kind of a reset in the chakras here and figure out, what comes up with that we can learn, any insights that can be shared on your healing journey as well. So that's there. For people that want to learn to read the cards the way I read the cards, we've got tarot tutoring, and also have intuitive healing sessions for people that feel like, they're stuck. They need help. They want things to kind of get better. They don't really know how to push through some stuff, and just to have a partner to help with that, and clear things up and work towards some intuitive healing, then I offer those on my website as well. So again, BeasTalksAndTarot.com, you can find all that stuff there. But the next question I have down here that I'm going to ask in this one is the elephant in the room question, the who will win question. And then, like I said, we'll take a look at whatever else we need to take a look at in the Perk Squad Extended. We can be looking at whether or not there's fairness around these elections. And we can look at more about, well, what will happen after. Let's say there's somebody sitting in the president role, and now months have gone by. What's the lay of the land look like? What's happening? What's coming up? That kind of a thing. We can look at that over there as well. So, several different things we'll take a look at that Perk Squad Extended video. But for this one here and now, let's dive into the question that we are all nervous about, over who is looking like the winner of the 2024 elections. So let's see. I've shuffled this up so many times, I swear we should have all new fresh cards, but let's see. All right. Let's see what we see here. Oh my. Okay. Well, let's bring all of this is so far bringing up the energy we have just been taking a look at in terms of the complexities and things like that. And literally, neither Kamala nor Trump have come up in this first pool on this. So that's how you know that this is wild, when literally neither of the two candidates have come up when we're asking about who's going to win. I'm going to keep asking more things. Don't worry. We're going to get some kind of a response here around that. I'll let my guides tell me what they're wanting to tell me first. Obviously they're wanting to say something else before they, say his name or her name or whatever. There's more here to be learned apparently. But if that doesn't show how complex the situation is, I don't know what does. The fact that isn't even where this started with this very clear-cut, straightforward question. So what they're showing here, again, fighting and confusion and potentially protest things that it's like does not make sense or whatever. This is like, we're not able to make this work. This isn't the outcome that anybody was hoping for or wanting. Now, that doesn't mean if I go to say a name of who's likely to win this thing, it doesn't mean like, oh, well, nobody voted for that person or wanted that person. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that whatever way this kind of pans out, that in some way everybody would feel like, wow, well, this isn't how I was kind of feeling like this should have gone or whatever. Like, this just feels weird. I don't know. Is this over now? This feels weird. Like, what is this? So again, just weird feelings, and muddy waters with this all the way. It just, and maybe it's the whole sense of everybody being like, we wanted different than these two candidates, that, even the Democrats could have wanted somebody that was different other than Kamala, and the Republicans maybe wanted someone that's different from Trump, but these were the two that we had to go head to head, but they're not what we wanted. So regardless of who wins, we wish it could have been different or something. It could be as simple as that. It could also be more intense than that. But either way, I get this sense of like, these are not celebratory happy cards here. These are weird energy cards. the moon card, for fuck's sake, is, sorry, I'm just going to be cussing here. I'm just like starting to lose my cool here with all of this. This is intense. The moon card is deeply emotional and deeply dark, and has to do with a lot of hidden stuff underneath the surface. So I feel a lot of darkness creeping in to this election, and that it's just settling there underneath the surface, bubbling underneath the surface in a way that contributes to this not feeling good. But we get the Chariot card upright and the Fool card upright, which is to say there is going to be some sort of forward movement, and there is going to be some kind of, all right, we've got to make a decision. We have to have something here, so we're going to have a new president. We're going to have to do that. So again, for the people that were like, no, there won't be elections or whatever, I definitely see we're going to have something come in. I see that there's going to be decisions made and someone new put into power that isn't President Joe Biden. So I do see that shift up, but there's something here that's like it, for anybody that has any intuitive and sensitive, sense about them, that this will not feel good, that there will be something that feels weird about it, off about it, regardless. So that's where they wanted to start. If that's where they want to start, I'll let them start that way, whatever. But let's see again. And I'll do this way as well. The likelihood of how things are going to go and feel and be for Trump, the likelihood of how things will go and feel and be for Kamala. So let's just see. Wow. Literally, my gosh, literally, these cards here, these two being upright and this one being in reverse, are the best ways to read these. These two being upright and this one being in reverse are the best way to read these. So in a sense, this feels like having three uprights for Trump and three uprights for Kamala. So literally, as we asked the question about the winner of the 2024 presidential election, and we first got this kind of layup of information and insight that didn't have to do with either of the candidates, and then now we're getting this kind of an equal balance, an equal footing on both of them. That is weird. That is weird. So this is probably why, because this is another question that now I forgot about it until literally just now, or else I probably would have had it written down here. But there was another question posed by several people saying, like, some readers or astrologers are saying that the outcome is not yet actually decided universally, that this could be a 50-50 toss-up or whatever, like that there are people saying that, and I can see where they're coming from when they're saying that. The fact that this is the second pull for that same simple question of which one would win, and we didn't get a winner on the first one, so on the second one I'm like, I'll just flat out ask, here's 3 for Trump and here's 3 for Kamala, and we got a matched level on both of them. So there is something to that, of the fact that there may not be this like decided potential yet. And how I explain that, I'm still going to keep asking things. So just by the way, I'm still going to keep asking things. But how I explain that is when I read cards, and I think a lot of other tarot readers do this too, but when I read cards, I explain it that there are infinite numbers of potentials of what could happen at any given time, infinite numbers. But it's kind of like looking at transparent images versus very clear and opaque images. The ones that are more transparent are things that could happen, but they're very unlikely. The things that are more opaque are things that could happen, and they're much more likely. There's a lot of energy behind it, such as just sitting here. It's possible that an elephant could come through this room, a real fucking elephant, in some kind of a way. That is possible. It's a very transparent potential because it's not likely. It's also possible that I continue this reading and I finish this reading. That's more of an opaque potential because there's a lot more energy behind that. So as we're reading this, what this is suggesting is that the way the potentials are right now is they're fading in and out of like this certain level of opacity and transparency, such that there's not one that is clear above the other one. And that is why people would get this idea of 50-50 toss-up energy, because it's literally giving that to me as well. And that might also be why some people were wondering if there would not be an election at all, because it's some weird, indecisive energy here. So this must mean there might be genuinely right now, sitting here on, again, September 11th, that there might be enough undecided people that if they were to make a decision one way, it really could swing it one way. And if they were to make a decision another way, it really could swing it another way. It literally could mean that at this point, there are enough people who are sitting on the fence right now that one way or another, that them changing their mind could literally shift the outcome. That is what this could mean. That is what this could mean. Because for Trump's row up here, what we're seeing, Empress card upright, World card in reverse, Temperance card upright. This is like, I've planted seeds for what I'm looking for already. I'm watering those. I'm going to see those grow regardless of whatever is said about any kind of elections or outcomes. I'm putting things in place. It ain't over till it's over. Let's figure this thing out, and I'm going to work on the timing of this. And so there's something about timing with Trump, something about not feeling things being over, something about, standing in power or trying to present a strong suit or something along those lines. With Kamala over here, similar to the Empress energy, we've got the Strength card here of I'm trying to stand in my strong footing as well. And similarly here, I've planted these and I'm waiting and watering for them to grow, just like how it was coming over here. But instead of this timing card that we get for Trump, and this timing card for whatever reason is in his favor, we get this Devil card in reverse, which is a positive way to get this for her, which is kind of releasing the chains, letting go, again with that letting go energy like what we were looking at earlier, but releasing chains, letting go, unbinding in some kind of a way that comes up as a positive thing for her. And so it looks like these are very similar energies. This is a little bit of a difference, but they're still matched here. There's something still matched here. So it really does feel like the energy potentials are still in flux enough that if all the undecided people shifted and planted themselves in a decision today, it really could swing it one way or the other. So I really do see that. I'm still going to, like I said, push for a name, but just knowing that makes pushing for a name a little bit more like, I guess, unimportant, because of how it could shift, how that could change. But that's, like I said, I'm still going to try to get a name anyway. So let me pull these up, shuffle them back up, and see if we can't get some kind of a sense of that. So, all right, Spirit guys, I see that there's energy toss up, and I know that I say that I don't squeeze things out of the cards that aren't there. So if you give me another pull that doesn't give me an inclination one way or the other, I will accept that. I won't push beyond that. I will, honor and respect the messaging that you are giving me. But if there is any way that we are able to know any leaning, if there happens to be a potential and a potential leaning and we are able to know, then please allow us to know that. Thank you. So I will ask that. I will ask that. All right. Let's see. Let's see. So again, like I said, if they come up and don't want to go forth and say one way or the other, then I'll just have to accept that. But I hope that they will here. So third time's the charm, and I will respect whatever they give me, whatever I'm allowed to know, whatever we're allowed to know together for the highest good of all. Let's see here. Literally starting out with a balance card, like a balancing scales, even scales again. Okay, so like I said, they're literally starting out with this sense of this balanced scales. This is a picture where the scales literally are in even balance here. So once again, they're reiterating like, okay, if you're pushing, we'll try to give you something, but just so you know, reiterating the energy of now is the balanced scales again. And so, you know, you keep pushing farther, you're gonna get what you get, you know, kind of thing. So I know I'm flirting with the line of pressing, and I try to keep it respectful, but I am flirting with the line here apparently. They do show 7 of Cups in reverse, World card in reverse. So it feels like there's going to be some weird things happening in the world that could contribute to what we see here. So again, when we were seeing things that were kind of complicating the elections and the outcomes and stuff like that, I do see some potentials that some world stuff could be complicating it. So I don't know if there's something that happens, God forbid, with any of the, you know, conflicts or hot wars that are going on right now that could be complicating anything. I sure hope not, but that is possible. Something, you know, that's kind of opened up broader than just the United States, beyond the United States, looks like it could be a factor in this. So again, this is not cut and dry, simple, super clear what they're showing, but depending on how this stuff kind of sorts itself out and depending on the little undecideds or whatever that could flip it either way, it does look like at this point in terms of the flexing potentials, there is a slightly higher potential from what they're showing here of Trump being in a reversed position, which would mean Kamala being in a better position. So him here in a reversed position, this is distancing, trying to push things out. Again, this kind of walking away type sense, and this like things not coming in quite the way that he might think or expect. So with all the caveats that they've already said here about how this really could go either way, I did press a third time, and on the third time of pressing, it seems like the current energy is slightly in Kamala's favor. And matter of fact, when we have been looking in the previous readings, remember when we did the Future of Trump reading recently and the Future of Kamala reading recently, I do remember seeing, I did Kamala's first, and I remember seeing she was going to have a tough go trying to press to get this win for herself. But then I did Trump's reading later, and I was like, wow, we saw Kamala was going to have some challenges. It looks like he's going to have even more challenges to push through than she is. And so again, that energy that I already saw for those, and that was back on, I'll tell you when that was. So let me pull this up over here on my screen. I'll tell you when I said those things. Well, if the internet will let me tell you when I said those things. Hello, internet. Please play along. Okay, so my Future of Trump update reading was published on August 7th. And my Future of Kamala reading, actually because hers was first, was published on July 27th. So as far back as July 27th of this year, I was seeing that they both would have some struggles to get their win, but that she would not have quite the amount of challenges to face as he would, that he would have a harder go of it and she would have a bit of an easier go of it, from as far back as July 27th. And so what they're showing here in this final iteration matches what they said on July 27th and what they said on August 7th. So now I've got 3 videos here in a row from as far back as July 27th that kind of give that type of impression that he would have a bit harder of a go than she would. And so that puts this 2024 presidential election slightly in her favor here, but with 2 pools of caveats that they wanted to give, that truly, when they say things could flip and shift, it really could. Something that has to do with the world could be coming in, like countries beyond the United States could be coming in, to add some complexities. And then also the sense of like, truly there are enough people that are undecided that how they make that last minute decision at the ballot box could actually be enough to shift the decision. So no wonder there's been so much confusion from all the people who've been trying to read on this. No wonder there has been a lack of clarity on outcomes, a lack of clarity on whether or not the election would even happen. All of that, I can see how that confusion would come up here. And again, anything that I've seen or said today, I could be fucking wrong. Sorry, I'm cussing a lot today. I apologize, but I could be, who knows? Because this is wild, and it's like we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. Maybe they're all right when they say there's not going to be an election, or maybe they're all right when they say, whatever else that they say that's contradicted what I've said here. Who knows? But this is what I'm seeing, and I've tried my best to. Okay, Teddy. I have tried my best to work past my nerves on this. Teddy! You're not helping, son. I've tried my best to work past my nerves on this and to come at this from a place of neutrality, as I've said. And we still have, like I said, on the Perk Squad Extended, 2 questions to look into about whether or not, this concept of fairness around the elections, and also about what would be happening afterwards, like, not the day after, but like months to come after what we could be kind of looking to expect there. So I'm going to take a look at those in the Perk Squad Extended video coming up here. If you're a Perk Squad member, you're going to see that shortly. Everyone else, you can join the Perk Squad if you want to. You don't have to, certainly. And I'm going to leave a B-roll at the end of this with puppy shenanigans like that one over there, so that it can kind of lift the mood from all of this intensity, maybe give us a smile, maybe give us a chuckle, maybe calm things down a little bit. So that's going to be coming up here shortly. And don't be a stranger. Come back and see me, and I will talk at you later. Believe me. Bye, y'all. You'll see. You are not destroying the potted plant by the fireplace. You need to get down. You need to stop exploring new heights. Teddy, get down. Are you stuck now? Are you stuck now? This is why we can't have nice things.
I'm going to go into the microwave for about 30 seconds at a time until it thickens.
And making the perfect silky but firm custard.